Hey everyone, welcome back. David in History for the Ages here. So I want to do a new video on why we study history. I get this question all the time from my students, and history is just something I'm so passionate about. I've been teaching about it for 27 years now. I love it. It's not about memorizing dates and names. There's so much more to it than that. And this is kind of what I tell my students the first day. So I kind of want to go through some of the major reasons why I really encourage people to study history, even if you're not a history major. And one for me, one of the most important ones is it gives meaning to the places you visit, right? That, these images here, you see this girl and she's on a beach. Well, this isn't just any beach, this is Omaha Beach. And I remember taking this picture when I was there many years ago and realizing, look, if you don't know the history, this is just sand in water. It doesn't have any meaning. But if you know that 18, 19-year-old boys gave their life on that beach so people can be free today, all of a sudden that place you're standing on is this remarkable has a remarkable impact on you emotionally and culturally and historically because you know what happened there because you know the history. The other image here is of a church also over in Normandy, Angleville Church there, that I talk about in my lecture on D-Day. And same thing, you go into this church and you could see the blood still on the benches there where it was used as a Red Cross center, and you know all the fighting that took place there nearby that church, near the drop zones of the paratroopers. It has meaning, and this is true of pretty much anywhere you go in the world. There's history everywhere, and if you know the history, it just means more. And I can give you 1,000 examples of this, but I think that kind of makes my point, hopefully, with it. But that's not the only reason to study history. There are other things as well. One thing I think is important is it gets a sense of how the past impacts who we are today. One of my essay questions I ask all my students is what are the contributions of past civilizations that impact us today? And sometimes I get students just writing about everything that happened in the past. And I'm like, no, how does it impact us today? Our religion, right? Our language, our culture, our government, sports, who we marry. So many of the things that we do today, day to day, are because of events from ancient history, even not just current. I get this, oh, this stuff happened thousands of years ago. Who cares? Well, do you practice a monotheistic religion or, any other culture? It impacts you today. The words we use in our English language. I have some cool little videos about word origins and like how people use the word draconian or ostracism or Pyrrhic victory. Those are all things from ancient Greek culture. And the government system we have that's rooted in so many things from the past, whether it's the Greeks or ideas from the Old Testament or the Enlightenment idea. Our founding fathers didn't pull this stuff out of thin air. Math, Pythagoras theorem, the Olympic Games. I mean, again, I can go on with this forever as well. But definitely knowing the past gives you an idea of who we are today and how we got to this point today. So to me, that's another really cool reason to study history. It teaches you how to think critically. As said in the beginning, history is not about just memorizing dates. I tell my students, you memorize dates, I'm not happy with you. It's about learning why things happen, cause and effect, dissecting primary sources, learning how to analyze sources, looking for biases in sources. I have a whole video I made on primary sources and understanding how you could look at a primary source and understand it and what perspectives it's coming from and different interpretations of historical events. Yes, there are absolute facts of things that happened in the past. But part of history is learning how to look at these facts and interpret them and understanding how they impact things, cause and effect. And it takes some critical thinking to do that. So I think the more people who read and study history, the more you kind of get a sense of that. And then finally, the old adage, those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it, or sometimes we say they may not repeat it, but history does rhyme. And there's so many times that we could use historical events to learn about very critical things. I use examples of how authoritarian regimes come to power. And whether you're talking about Stalin or Hitler or the ancient Roman Empire, they often have similar patterns to them. Even when you look at why the Roman Empire fell and you look at the various causes, and I put fall in quotation marks with the Roman Empire because it didn't just fall overnight. It happened over hundreds of years of gradual change. And you look at economic issues, immigration issues, cultural issues that impacted what was the quote unquote fall of Rome and how we can learn from that. And so many of the ideas that people come up with today, folks, people came up with a long time ago and didn't work. And some did work. But the point is, if people took the time to understand the history, you would learn, all right, this worked, this didn't work, why didn't it work? Connecting it with human nature. I think so many things people try to push are often contradictory to human nature, and that creates problems. But you learn all that studying history. And so that's, of course, another cool reason to study it. So anyways, I'll leave a link here to the primary source video and that you could watch if you want to kind of get a bigger understanding of how primary sources are used in history. I think that's a cool topic that segues nicely for this. Thank you for watching. I hope you watch all my lectures and, leave some comments as always. And, hope you find a lot of good material on my channel you can enjoy and share with others. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you.